So I've introduced Pythagoras. We've talked about how to calculate the longest side of the right angle triangle. In fact, I might just put a little note in here. So the longest side in a right angle triangle is called the hypotenuse. Quite hard. I find that hard to say, but anyway. So I'll just put that in there so you know when you see that word hypo, 10, use. You know, that's how you can think about the spelling hypo, 10, and use. Now, so I've worked out how to work out the length of the hypotenuse. Now, what about working out one of the shorter sides? So let's look at this example from the previous video. What if you want to work out the side BC, which is 5 here? Well, essentially BC squared, so 5 squared plus 10 squared should equal 11.18 squared. So if you then go, well, I don't know what, let's imagine we don't know BC, but if you go BC plus 10 squared, which we know is 100, that should equal 11.18 squared. So let's type that in, 11.1803 squared. And if you take away the 10 squared, because that's the shorter side you are given, you're left with 24.99 something. So this, whatever this is, this must be the square of this length. So all we need to do now is take the square root of that. So that's what I'm going to do. You can see that's very close to 25 because there's a bit of rounding here. So when we go essentially and do our answer, square root, answer key, you get 4.999 something, which is the 5. Now let's consider, what if you didn't know the 10 over here and you want to work it out? You're given the 11.18 and the 5, the BC equals 5. Same process. Square the hypotenuse first, 11.1803, and subtract the square of the shorter side you are given. And look at that, you get 99.999 something, which is very close to 100. And then what's the square root of 100? So we type in square root of that answer, 99, and look what you get, 9.999 something, which is 10 effectively. So let's just confirm that one more time. Let's change our let's pick the move tool. Actually, I might just change my points around a bit. Drag this around. You know, sometimes your right angle triangles will be written. So I'll drag that down like that. So that's CA. So here we are. Here's a triangle. I might have done this one before. Let's make that a 5. And you go, right, well, let's confirm. So CA here, which is, what's this side? Right, it's opposite. It's the longest side, 5.8 something. This one's 5, this is 3. It's opposite the right angle, so we know that's the hypotenuse. So if we go 5.831 squared, and let's say we subtract our 3 squared, we get 25.000 something. And if you take the square root of that, so I hit the square root key and just hit the answer key because that stores the previous answer, we get 5.000, which is exactly what we expect to get 5. Now what about if we do the other way? Let's say we don't have AB equals 3 length and we want to work that out. So we'll go 5.831, square that, subtract 5 squared, which will be 25, So you end up with 9.00 something, which is very close to 9. There's a little bit of rounding here on this hypotenuse length. That's why we don't get exactly 3. So when we go square root answer, we get 3, which is what we expect. So there's an example of how we can use Pythagoras without doing a lot of working everything, just using our calculator, how to work out the length. Let's give you one to try. So what I'll do is I'll just go and hide. Say I just need to hide one of the, let's hide that length there. Okay, and I'll drag these points out a bit. Right, there we go. I want you to work it. Now, if you look at this screen, you can clearly see, you can actually read the grid. So I've chosen a nice whole number for this side length. But anyway, use your calculator to work it out. Give you a minute, a little time, and then I'll come back. So if you need to, pause the video. When you're ready, come back and start play again. So here's my calculator. So firstly, we see that the hypotenuse here, the longest side, is 10. So we're going to go 10 squared. And then we're going to subtract from it the shorter side you're given squared. And what you get is 64. And of course, if you know your numbers, you know that the square root of 64 is 8. And you can see on here, you can actually count it. There's 1, 2, the grid lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So clearly that's correct. I can turn that on. If I just find that one, there it is. You see it's AB is equal to 8. So that's how you can find, using Pythagoras, if you have the hypotenuse length and one other side length, the shorter side length, you can work out the remaining third side, the other shorter side length. You have a go.